Jimmy Page is a guitarist. He found Hendrix to be unique and an innovator.
Well, with guitarists, there's usually innovators, or there's the one who comes along at a particular period of time who can sort of capture everything that's going on at that particular period of time and sort of put it into a melting pot and come out with, like, something that appears to be very new, you know. Well, he certainly did that in his very early days, you know, as far as I can see. And he went on from that to be quite an innovator, most certainly in the recording studio. In fact, that was the thing that impressed me the most in the early days. He was so far ahead of anybody else with his recording techniques. And he was pretty damn sure that he was going to get it across as well. I mean, there's little segments like The Gods Made Love, you know, which is so beyond anything that anybody had done at that point. And I really thought, after he passed away, that, you know, another sort of 5-10 years' time, people would actually recognise the technological aspect of that, but it actually hasn't come across so much, but it surprises me. As far as the technology of that particular point goes, there were wah-wah pedals just coming in. Now, he was straight onto that. He was straight on to ring modulators, all the early essential parts of, say, synthesis, you know, the fuzz box, which could sustain. Well, yes, other guitarists had used that, we know, but he had an octave doubler as well. And he was really into this sort of thing. This is just actually what he would be actually using, you know, mechanically on his own. In fact, I heard one story where he was using 2 wah-wah pedals, one on each foot. And I forget the name of the track now, but it was jolly effective. Now, in the studio at that particular time, they'd just hit on phasing, which now can be done, you know, with just a sort of a simple sort of, you know, button or knob. However, in those days it took sort of, you know, 2 tape recorders, come 3 actually, you know, and you'd slow one up and you'd get this, you'd record onto 2 and you'd slow one up and you'd get this sort of phasing sound, which is on that track that I was mentioning earlier. And he went on from there to get so immersed into this sort of this technological aspect of what the studio could do for one and how it could change the sound of the guitar, that it often fascinates me to know how far he could have gone with that. You know, he obviously had a hell of a lot to offer.
Jimmy Page.
I've listened to a few. I think they're disgusting, because he let the people know what things he wanted out at the time. You find with any guitarist usually where you've got a piece, you'll put maybe 3 or 4 trial solos on it, you know, and usually pick the best one of the 3, say, or 4. Well, with one particular album I can think of, they just left them all on because they couldn't make up their mind which one, you know. They said, well, it's all Jimmy. It was just, you know, diabolical. It was just sort of cashing in the lowest manner. The first one that came out, there were a couple of things that were quite reasonable, but the next one, I remember when I heard it, I couldn't listen to it again. It just felt very, very strange, and the story came out afterwards that they actually erased musicians, plus his own playing. And I thought that was, you know, so ghastly that people could go to that extreme to cash in on a name. But I suppose that's the way the record business works. As far as the early LPs, they just get better as they go on. I think you can tell the psychological pressures on him during the period of Barclay, and one would really like to hear the things that he had done and mixed on his own, but of course you don't, you know. I know that he did a lot of recording. I think it was upstate New York, you know. He just had the bare essentials of a studio and recorded around that period, you know. It'd be nice to hear those things. But again, you know, when somebody else starts making decisions above and beyond what, you know, taking artistic license, I think it's not on at all. Every Hendrix track, for me, of the legitimate ones, that is, have something in them that you can that can really get you at it. But I suppose as I've spoken about the God's Made Love, perhaps that's the one that you probably wouldn't have played, so we'll say for that.